So you're thinking of moving to the St. George, Utah area. In this video, we're going to talk about reasons why people don't like living here and things you should consider before making the move. Hi, I'm Shari Harris with Fathom Realty. We get phone calls and emails every day from people looking to move to the St. George area. And some people choose not to move here, and that's okay. It's important to have all the facts and information before making such a big move. We're going to go over some of the most common cons today, and some of these will actually not be cons to everyone. I absolutely love living here, and most of these things don't bother me. So let's get started with number one, the weather. I was actually talking to a woman the other day who moved here assuming that the weather was just like northern Utah. And when winter came and the snow didn't come, she was shocked. So let's get clear on what the weather is like here. During the winter, it's pretty mild. We don't get much snow, kind of like a sprinkling of snow. The sun hits it and it melts really quick. If there's much accumulation, they will delay school because we don't own snow plows in the area to plow the roads. I think in the last 6 to 8 years, they've only delayed school once or twice. So this is not common by any means. So yeah, we don't really have snow here. It's mild, depending on where you're coming from. Sometimes, I'm looking at the weather, going somewhere in California or something, and it's 70 degrees year round. We're not 70 degrees year round by any means. So we have, we do get cold, like freezing at night sometimes. My husband walks the dog, and when the sun goes down, it can be a little chilly. He's bundled up with a beanie and a scarf and gloves while he's walking the dog. And so during probably 2 to 3 months, we have where it's a bit cold, but after the sun goes down, but during the day you could be in a light jacket or a t-shirt sometimes during the winter. And then when summer comes, when I talk about summer, I'm really talking about like June, July, August. It's super hot. So our record is 117 degrees. Luckily, we don't hit that very often. And but we will have days above 110, sometimes a week where the high every day is above 110, and that can be a little much. But if you know this, you can plan for it. Go out and enjoy the pleasant mornings. If you go out before like 10 a.m., you can really enjoy the outdoors, sometimes even before 11. As well as make good use of the reservoirs, the swimming pools, the splash pads, and then some of just the indoor stuff, going to Fiesta Fun or Laser Mania or to the rink to go skating. Just kind of plan things like that to stay out of the heat during the summer. Plan your vacations to go somewhere cooler, whether it's a week away to a cooler area or just a weekend or an hour and a half from Bryan Head ski resort. So you can go there for your snow in the winter or for your hiking and cooling off during the summer. There's also Pine Valley, Cedar City. Both are about an hour away, just kind of opposite directions. Great place to go kind of cool off or to get your snow fix as well. So there's lots of options to get around the weather we have here, but I really love the kind of milder winters and that we can go trick-or-treating in our t-shirts. So it's actually a plus for me. The next on my list is that we live in a desert, and this area can seem a little shocking to people who lived out east, just used to a lot of greenery or close to the ocean or anywhere where there's a lot more water, and they come here and it's not as green as what they're used to. I get a kick out of when they're like totally intrigued by our sprinkler systems because they've never had to water their lawn or outdoor plants ever and didn't even realize that was a thing. So we do have to water our lawns, and we have drip irrigation systems to our plants. And so we have to be careful how we use our water here. So you'll see a lot of desert landscape with kind of the rocks, and I love how they'll use the black and the red and the white and gray rock and do patterns or just kind of give the different layers to it, and then do drought tolerant plants. AstroTurf or that fake grass, you'll see in a lot of like front yards especially, and a lot of our businesses, churches have been working on removing the extra grass that really isn't being used. and keeping the grass for areas where children are playing or athletes are running around doing their thing. And our golf courses use recycled water and have usually kind of a more drought tolerant grass. And so that's kind of how we get our fixes of green is the golf courses. We do have some farmland in like Washington Fields area, Ivans, so you'll see the beautiful green fields during the summer against like the red rock, so it's quite beautiful. And we have the Virgin River and the Santa Clara River, so that gives us some greenery and are just more mature areas. You go down to these homes that have been here for a while and they have the big, beautiful established trees lining the street, and that sometimes helps my clients kind of feel that need for that green that they feel like they're missing when they relocate here. And I do feel like I've been to other desert areas and I do feel that we do have more greenery and the red rock and the black lava rock that kind of gives it it's a beauty that's unique. While talking about the plants, let's talk about gardening. I feel like it's a bit of a learning curve here. Our soil is kind of a clay soil, and it often needs to be amended with fertilizers and like topsoil, and it takes a little work to get your soil ready here. And the sun is brutal, so like shade cloth can really help your plants to thrive. But once you kind of figure those things out, we have a really long growing season where we're not worried about things freezing, and so you can actually get a couple harvests or just plants that are producing for a longer time period. And so gardening can turn out pretty good here once you get over that learning curve. All right, this next one actually gets people calling me a liar in the comments so often. That's when I talk about like the insects and the bugs and the lizards and snakes, and I have all these people telling me they've never seen them. So this is my experience. So cockroaches. I have my home sprayed every few months for cockroaches, so we don't get them in the house. And you do see them outside, sometimes dead on the porch. Knowing that the spray is working, if one is ever found dead in the house or you go out in the garage and see it, the company I'm with is great. They come and do a spray in between. So we don't really have a problem, but we keep up on it. And we at one point lived on a big acre lot. Dead cockroaches across our back porch was so common and really disgusting. And then we got chickens, and the chickens would eat the cockroaches, but then they would poop all over our porch. And I honestly don't know which was worse, the chicken poop or the dead cockroaches on the porch. And let's talk a little bit about the scorpions. So I honestly haven't seen many scorpions, but our first place that we moved into, my little girl was probably 4 and was playing on the carpet, and she knelt down on one and it stung her. We were new to the area, so it kind of freaked me out. I didn't know if they were deadly at that point and was like trying to find a doctor, nurse, somebody who could answer my questions, but we weren't established anywhere. And so I ended up calling the pest control company, and they said that typically we don't have dangerous scorpions here, that it would sting like a bee sting, but it would be okay. And then they were quick to come over and do a mixture with a stronger dose against the scorpions. So after that, we would see them dead in like the garage or our half bathroom on the main floor. But that's my only experience with scorpions, really. The other couple places we've lived, I really haven't seen them. Occasionally when I'm showing homes, I'll see them, but they've always been really small, like blend in with the carpet pretty well. So we don't have those huge scorpions here. Maybe if we're out in the desert area more away from civilization, maybe you'd see some of the bigger ones. And then we have lizards, which I see lizards all summer long on my fences and the side of my house, not the inside. That's only happened once. And so the lizards are so good at eating all the little bugs. So they are nice to have around. I'm a little squeamish, don't want to pick them up, but I see them all the time when I'm out showing houses. And so they really are a good thing. And then snakes. I really have not seen very many snakes, especially like in people's yards. It's been out hiking. Most of them would never harm you, but we do have rattlesnakes, and I've only come across one after a cold night, and it was on a rock getting warmed by the sun. So I don't think that's a common problem. I haven't really heard people complaining about that, but I know that's something that people immediately think of when you think of the desert, is the reptiles. So that's kind of been my experience. Everywhere you live, it might be a little bit different. More rural areas, you will probably see more than you would in other areas. In some places, no signs of them, and then they start building somewhere nearby, and then you're having to deal with it at your house. So just something to be aware of. The next on my list is we are a vacation destination. So we host marathons, triathlons, bike races. We're near to Zion National Park, Bryce Canyon, and we're warm. So when you want to get out of the snow, and so we just attract a lot of people here for a variety of reasons, and it's fun. Let's be honest, when the roads are congested or the lines are longer at the store or the restaurant, that can sometimes be obnoxious. When we have the big races especially, there'll be a lot of detours or road closures. But you really, when you live here, you learn about these. They give you plenty of notice, and you schedule your errands before or after, not during, and go enjoy the race or just stay at home. And so that's one thing that people don't love. As well as everybody's here to hike or to use our reservoirs. So sometimes you'll find you get to Sand Hollow Reservoir and there's no more parking in there. It's full, and so you have to come back another day, or your favorite trail is packed with people and you just wanted to get away in nature. But been living here, you learn like this is typically a busy time, so I know some off-beaten trails that aren't going to have as many people, so I can still get away and have that time in nature alone. Or I know of parks that aren't as popular or as close to the vacation rentals, so I can take my children there. And so you kind of learn tricks and tips around that as you've been living here, so that it doesn't impact your day-to-day life as much. And one bonus is we meet really cool people, and it's really fun to see the athletes just accomplish amazing things. I'm just really impressed with their determination. One other thing about being a vacation destination is how much that supports our economy and provides so many jobs, and some of the taxes that come from that and make improvements that we get to enjoy every day as well. So some more benefits. Next on my list is this, are we a small town or are we a big town? And it's depends on the person, because I know people who look into the area and they are you don't have the finer dining and the nightlife or the big entertainers or a professional sports team, and some of those things that come from being a bigger populated area. And so they find it's just not the right fit for them, and others are happy to just make the trip to Las Vegas when they kind of need that fix. To try to give you an idea on the population, Washington County has around 200,000 people in the whole county, and Las Vegas has around 650,000 people in Las Vegas. So we are less than a third of the size in our whole county. So, and I think St. George makes up about half of it. So we are quite a bit smaller compared to Las Vegas. But also I have people come and they say we are not small enough. So then they start looking kind of some of the outer cities surrounding St. George. So Hurricane sometimes can have that feel of being a little bit further out, or Tokerville or Leeds. Maybe heard of Apple Valley. So there's places like that where you can get a little bit away from everyone, even further out than that if wanted, but then you're still close enough to all the stores you need to take care of your everyday life, which St. George area, really, you can do all of your shopping, and the food isn't horrible. It's just not the luxury eating that maybe some people are used to. So it just kind of depends where you're coming from, whether you would see this as a big town or a small town. Another thing that can be a con is our house prices are above the national median. So our median is around 500,000 and the US is just over 400,000. So kind of depending on where you're coming from, you might find that you can't afford as much house, and sacrifices would need to be made. And some people are happy to make those sacrifices because of the value they feel they get here from they've described it as kind of clean and free and safe compared to where they're coming from. And so to live in a smaller home but feel that security and safety that they have felt here was worth it. And then I have people who come here and they're like, oh, I love the house prices, and it's they've got a lot of equity and great down payment, and so it's going to be kind of based upon where you're coming from. But it's so important to kind of compare that and look at that and see if that's something you're willing to make the sacrifice, if need be, to live in a smaller home. And I would be happy to go kind of over those details with you, because that is so different for everyone. So all my contact information is below. So really don't hesitate to reach out if, as I'm talking, this has brought up any questions at all, please reach out. The next one is our wages here are typically low. We just don't have like that wide range variety of jobs that maybe you would find with a bigger population, though it is growing and improving. If you check out my Tech Ridge video, that talks a little bit about some of the higher paying jobs we're hoping to bring here, and how a lot of the people here, we have remote workers, we have people who have landed high paying jobs here, people who've come here to retire, or they had a good down payment for a home when they came here, and some of those things have helped to combat the lower wages. And then there are some people who are working so hard, and it is sad. They are working multiple jobs to just survive because of kind of the low wages that are so common here. And so that is something I hope you will truly consider and look at your situation to make sure that is something that is doable for you before you make the move here. Another one that some people complain about is that there's businesses closed on Sunday, or when we have a big holiday like Halloween or the 4th of July, that we celebrate on Saturday instead of Sunday. So trick-or-treating on Saturday, or the parade and 4th of July fireworks would be on Saturday instead of Sunday. And that really annoys some people. And I have talked about this in another video, and I was amazed by the people who reached out and commented that it's the same where they live. So we're not as unique as I thought, but I do see some people get a little heated about it. And I have heard of trick-or-treaters sticking to going on Sunday. So I would love to hear what it's like in your area. Another con is the public transportation system. If you move here, you kind of need a car. It's really hard to live here without a car, I've found. We do have a bus system, but it just doesn't meet a lot of people's needs. And I know that's something that just comes as the population grows and the demand grows. And Tech Ridge, that I mentioned earlier, is going to be a walkable community as that's developed, where people can work and shop and live right in that area. And so I see this improving with time, but it is something that you would have to really consider getting a car if you didn't have one when moving to this area. And I kind of touched on this one earlier, but it's kind of the lacking in entertainment. We don't have big arenas and big professional teams, or maybe top entertainers who come here. But we have like awesome, Tuacahn has this awesome Broadway plays every year, and they bring other entertainers that I've really enjoyed. And then we have some local theaters throughout the community. And the Shakespeare Festival, which is huge, is in Cedar City, which is like an hour away. And then also so much entertainment and professional sports in Las Vegas, which is only a couple hours away. So you can get those things, but it's not maybe as big or right here. And I think that kind of goes along with the big city that I was talking about earlier. All right, if I haven't scared you away with my list, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd love to answer all of your questions, and I will talk to you soon.